Welcome to another edition of Small Yard Big Pool Dreams, brought to you by hollywoodfrodo.com. I am Eric, and I'm taking you on a journey with me as my spouse and I put in a, hopefully in the end is going to be a super amazing, awesome dream pool in our small, tiny little yard in Southern California. So, if you read the title of this video, Mama said there'd be days like this. If you've ever talked to anyone who's done any type of construction, you know at some point in time something goes wrong, something doesn't happen right, the contractor does something differently than what you had told him to do or you expected to be done. You hope that you're not going to have one of those days in your pool build, but we did have one of those days this week. Thankfully it's not an end of the world kind of a thing or a huge thing, but it was a small thing and it was very frustrating and stressful, and so I want to share it with you. So if you're looking to build a pool, you might have a day like this as well. So here's what happened. On excavation day, our garage is set off back from our house. You've seen the pictures in the earlier videos, you see that layout. And so our garage has electricity, and that comes from the panel on the back side of our house. A pipe, that conduit that goes down to the ground and then to the garage to give power to the garage. So on excavation day that got dug up and severed, and that's to be expected. That was not a big deal. However, on that day our pool builders were there and they said, don't worry about it, that's the kind of stuff that happens, and eventually we'll get our electrician out here to take a look at it, tell you what needs to be done to get it fixed and get it taken care of. It's like, okay, no big deal, they're going to take care of it. Now I'll say right now, sometimes I just am stupid, I guess, and when they said they'd take care of it, I just thought that meant they'd take care of it and it was just part of the pool build. That was dumb, because obviously anything that they do that is not written into the contract is going to be extra money. So I should have known that, but in my mind, at the time, I just didn't think of that. But that's not where things went wrong. Where things went wrong is 2 weeks went by and nobody was saying anything about restoring electricity. The plumbers were here, they were running conduit, and my spouse kept asking me, they're going to take care of that electricity, right? And I was like, well, they said they would, so I haven't been worried about it. If they said they would, then they would. But 2 weeks had gone by, and then he was here one day when they were working, and he asked the plumbers about it, and the plumbers said, we don't know anything about running any conduit to the garage or anything. No one said anything to us. So then he asked the guy, the manager, the project manager for our build about it, and he said, I'll check into it. I'm sure it's going to happen, whatever. So then the next day, it's 10 o'clock in the morning, I'm at work, and I get a phone call from the office manager, who I knew of, but had not even ever met or talked to him, because he was sick on the day that we met everybody. And I'm at work and the call is, the electrician is at your place, here's how he wants to run electricity for your garage, and it's going to cost $1,200, but we need to know now, because if we don't know right now, then that means the conduit guys will have to come back later to do it, and that's going to cost more than if they just do it right now. Can you imagine getting that phone call? So, we're spending a lot of money. $1,200 may not seem like a whole lot, but it is when you're already spending a ton and you've budgeted, specifically amount. Now, of course, we did build in a little bit of money for the unknowns into our budget, and this is one of those. But still, getting that phone call, and especially that immediate, we have to have a decision now, I was just like, whoa, what's going on? So, I was like, I don't know. I thought Spencer, that's our sales design guy, I thought he said you guys were just going to take care of it. I was a little bit confused about that, and I was getting the phone call at work, so then he said, well, let me have him call you. So then Spencer called me. He's like, no, we're going to take care of it, and we'll have an electrician take care of it, and but you have to pay for it. I was like, well, okay, I get that, but man, this is like a sudden thing. And anyway, long story short, we were like, okay, fine, we need to get it done. It has to be done, so go ahead and do it. But just make sure that when they run the wire for the up into the panel that's on the back of our house, that they use the existing conduit that is inside the wall, because there's a conduit there that the power went to the garage. Use that same conduit. It's inside the wall. Look, you don't see it. It's perfect. So he said, yeah, I'll make sure they know that. So my spouse gets home that day, and then later, of course, I go home and I walk out there, and guess what they didn't do? they didn't use the conduit that was already existing inside the wall. They put additional conduit on the outside of the wall, as you can see in the picture, and it's ugly, and it's on the outside, and there's no reason for it because there's already conduit on the inside of the wall. And there's no wires in there, so we're like, wait a second, why did they said they had to do it today? Ultimately, the electrician wasn't going to do the electrical work that day, but just they were going to have the plumbers go ahead and run the conduit that day so it would be ready for the electrician, because the plumbers were there doing conduit that day. So anyway, so then that was just a whole another like, whoa, wait a second, now they put a hole in our wall that didn't need to be there. They put this ugly conduit that we said please don't do. So we had to contact them and let them know we were disappointed, and this, also just the fact that they, rather than having an electrician give us a price, a week before, and then us have time to maybe contact our own electrician to do power to the garage, since that doesn't have anything to do with the pool, and get our own pricing for it would have been nice. But they didn't. They had that last minute thing. So we let them know, that we were disappointed about that, and we let them know that the conduit needed to be fixed. They agreed that they will take off that conduit on the outside of the wall and run it into the wall. Of course, that hole's still there. They'll patch that hole, but that's not the same as never having a hole to begin with. So anyway, that was our experience. That was our, Mama said there'd be days like this experience this week. It was frustrating. But we did talk to them about it. We let them know how we felt about it. They said they're going to take care of it. And, that's just the way it goes. If you talk to other people who've done either pools or any type of construction, almost every job ends up having something like that. It's one of the frustrating things about doing construction, I think, is the fact that you're not in control. Your contractor's in control, and then even you're talking to him, but he's not there all day. He's having, his subcontractors there doing the work, and he's not just sitting there watching them the whole time. So, a lot of times if you're not around to watch what they're doing, and they're not around, they may misunderstand something, and no one's there to correct them. So I will say, if you're doing a pool, and I've heard this before, there's just no way we could be here every single time they're working. But if you can have someone there, definitely have someone there, and have them watching constantly and asking questions of the subcontractors. That's one of my pieces of advice that I would give anyone who's doing something like this, is ask, and ask everybody. Because just because you've talked to your salesperson doesn't mean that the project manager knows everything that you talk to the salesperson about. And just because they all know doesn't mean that they relayed the information to the subcontractor. Or maybe they did, but maybe the subcontractor misunderstood. And so if you can be there at all, and you can watch, and you can ask, and you can make sure, there's no amount of that would be considered too much. I think it's fair game. You're spending a lot of money. It's your, when they're done with a job, they're moving on, and you're stuck with it, so that would be one thing I would say to do if you could, and we're doing that as much as we can, even more so now after that experience. We're trying to make sure that anytime they're doing anything, the subcontractors are here doing work, that one of us at least is here to watch them and just make sure that everything's being done the way we want it. Because it's easier to catch it when it's being done and keep it from being done the wrong way than it is to try to fix something that's not done right. So anyway, that was our day. That was our week. That was a very frustrating day. A couple of days very stressful. Still a little bit not too happy about having to pay $1,200. I don't want to get into all the details of what they're doing for that, but it seems like it's over. Like it might be a little bit more than it should be. Or would be if we just, called an electrician in to do it, because it's not a huge job, that part of it. But, it is what it is. It's getting done. It's all going to be good in the end, and that's the way it is. We've kind of patched things up with our pool builder about it all, and they're taking care of it, and that's the important thing. If mistakes are made, we're human. Humans make mistakes. But as long as they take care of it, then, you can move on and forget about it, and things will be great. We are excited about things that are coming up. We have Gunite. I hope I said that right. That word is such a weird word to me. Shotcrete is much easier to say. So we have Shotcrete coming up soon. So there's going to be a video pretty near future that's going to be a time lapse of that. So stay on that, look for that, because I think that'll be really cool to see the pool actually, once you get that in there, you actually have the form of the pool, which is exciting. So that's coming up, and we're moving forward very fast. It's hopefully going to be all finished within a couple of months, so you'll get to see the end product and see what it all looks like. Also, you know, when that's all done, I'll show you the what the wall looks like when they fix that conduit, because they haven't fixed it yet. That's going to be done sometime next week as well. So I'll show you a follow-up video. You'll get to see the repair and what that looks like. Anyway, that's it for this video. Just know things like that happen. Get them fixed, move on, and you know, try to stay positive about the whole thing. And that's that. Anyway, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, or subscribe to this playlist, really, if you want to keep up with what's going on with our pool. And keep an eye out for the next video. That's it, until next time.